Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton on a delayed reaction.
He always gets mad. Oh, you don't get mad. You just get jumpy.
Uh-huh.
I start it and you go,
Right.
okay, I'm ready. And I start it and then you jump as if it's the same shit every time.
Yep.
We are nothing if not consistent.
Yes, but you know what? I was going to say what's not consistent. It's been pretty consistent this season. Pretty Little Liars, the finale.
Season 3 finale.
Yes.
You were nowhere near. Honey, let me explain to you just how chaotic you will.
Oh.
You won't recognize yourself when we get to the end of the show.
Yeah, just up top, 'cause I was thinking, it's like, okay, like how far we've come from the beginning of this show. It was never meant to be like a grounded, realistic show, but just from where we started of these high schoolers that are now being like cyberbullied to competing groups descending onto a lodge with a fire and a plane and subterfuge and double crosses. It's really leaning into the soap opera in a way I like.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. Like, it's very heightened in a great melodramatic way, which I love. It feels the most like a soap opera in this. Again, that all from my understanding of soap opera, of just how heightened everything is and where the emotions are and double crosses and everything. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
This in comparison to like the season 2 finale, which has reveals that I found lackluster. These are only breadcrumbs to get you thinking about other things. There are reveals, and you can get a better understanding of where people's allegiances lie. And you get some new... It rearranges the board, so like there's gonna be a new kind of like status quo going forward,
Mm-hmm.
and but like still get you enough to like kind of think like nothing is tied off here.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, I don't know, we probably won't be going back to the lodge.
We got more questions than answers.
Yeah, absolutely, which is always a good thing. At least at this point, like it's a very different style of watching now that we aren't watching week to week. And when I was younger, this is like the type of stuff that I would hate. Like I always go back to Lost, right?
Uh-huh.
Like it's really exciting to be like theory crafting, but then also at the other point, it's like, of course Mona doesn't know what red coat looks like. That there's it's the frustration of not getting things, and knowing that you have to wait. But like, you know, that's more compressed down when we're just watching, say, week to week.
I think about that too, like reading, like when a chapter ends on a cliffhanger or something, and you're like, okay, well now I have to keep reading.
Right.
Or like when a book ends on a cliffhanger in a series, and you're like,
I gotta keep
well,
going.
now I have to wait for the next one.
Well, when we were watching Wednesday, there's like one ends on a cliffhanger, and you know, since it's streaming, everything's right back to back. So I just audibly groaned and hit play on the next one. I'm like, well, we gotta know. And you could say, I think the nice thing about us doing it in these parcels is that we get to theory craft without and we do it a little bit faster. So we're not like, and we're also not waiting over like a summer.
Well, and also the week to week, you forget. Like if we were
Right.
doing this week to week, because we're doing 2 episodes at a time, usually you kind of get 2 strings that are somewhat connected that you can kind of build off of. When you're watching week to week, if we were watching one a week and then you were theory crafting and watching one a week and then theory crafting, I feel like it would be harder
Yes.
because you'd have to have a really good memory unless you rewatched the previous one before watching the next one every time.
Right. Yeah. Which in a basic sense is why yes, it's much harder to do that, but like the dawn of the internet and the way that like fandom started cropping up around like Lost and things like that, and like comparing notes across message boards allowed you to be able to do this more effectively rather than where serialized television where it was just kind of like new kind of plot lines week to week with like a small thread at the end, was more in vogue because you didn't know like if it got like picked up in syndication. People might just be finding random episodes. So yeah, it's interesting how that's changed.
I will say the hard thing about this show was when I was watching it in real time, sometimes I felt kind of like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like referencing, like, for example, like the hello pretty eyes. Like that's one of the things I remembered that I was like, okay, like
I'm glad you flagged that.
I can connect these and I could always connect those. But there's so many things I couldn't connect when I watched it the first time.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, you don't know what you're looking for.
No, not at all.
And so you're like, why did Shauna do this? Or like Shauna alludes to this, or like the Paige's name on Shauna's phone. Like I wouldn't have seen that if I hadn't like read it on the internet.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, oh,
we would have breezed right by it. Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a detail that I clicked with. Like it just doesn't. And so you'd build these fan theories that weren't grounded in the show because you were referencing only specific things and missing other things because you didn't see them.
Right.
Because maybe someone else caught that, but they didn't catch the things you caught. And I think that's what made the show kind of fun at the time, was because people finally had gotten to like where you could rewatch for the most part. I mean, you still had, it was like I was rewatching on demand. So sometimes I'd rewatch the previous episodes. But even then, you only had a certain number going back, usually available.
Right.
So it's not like you could start at the beginning of the season and rewatch. It was like, okay, you could start maybe 4 episodes ago and rewatch. So if it's referencing something like from the beginning of the season, you're like, was that a thing? I don't know. I guess I'll have to wait till they show the big day of re-showing the entire show before the finale to try to put it all together.
And then even smaller things that are revealed is that, like, I think the identity of Pretty Eyes is maybe not something that's even on the front of your thought because it's so wrapped up in everything else.
Well, and those A scenes were some people were either obsessed with them or like if you were like me, you were like, I don't fucking know. Like maybe they're just throwing random scenes because the ones that reference Mona just felt so random.
Yeah.
In that first season with like the fucking like rats and the hamsters and shit.
Right.
You're like, none of that actually like, I mean, like, sure, metaphorically you could play with some of that, but like, I'm not even sure how well those translated. So then you got to a point where you're like, oh no, now I have to like try to retrofit these into the narrative. And like, which are you supposed to, or are they just like random scenes? Like, do we ever learn who bought the alcohol and doesn't matter?
Right, exactly. And then they've even gotten in this most recent season more literal and like, here's them putting together the bouquet that you will see next episode.
Yes, which at least is like better because then you're like, okay, I know this. Like when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, A was doing that last time.
Right. Or like, but there's other times where it's just like, why did we... Going back to like changing the number on the sign, never referenced again. No one died.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I don't know where else I was going, but I think we're ready to get into the episode.
Tell us what happened.
Perfect. All right. Episode 71, season 3, episode 24, A Dangerous Game. Arya, Emily, and Hannah wait in Spencer's kitchen, waiting for her to come downstairs. This is the first time they're going to see her outside of Radley, and they're surrounded by baked goods on the counter that the Hastings bought to celebrate her being home. They wonder how they'll break the news to Spencer about the police finding the other body, and wonder how long it'll be before they know more info. Spencer comes downstairs saying they lost Toby a long time ago, and that like the one we knew that like had been like long gone to us. They ask how she is, and she's like, and they say she doesn't need to pretend to be okay. Spencer says, I'm not as strong as you, Emily. Remember like how you took down Wilden? Well, when I saw Toby, I broke down, but I'm not the victim anymore. That's not who I am. She hands them all invitations to a celebration her parents are throwing at the, I have it later in my notes, the lodge, to show that Spencer is all better. In the A layer, the person on the computer is performing some hacking on a computer and pulls up a phone number and transfers it to their phone. Mona then comes in, and we see a map on the computer screen with the lodge at Thornhill. There we go. Mona looks at the invitation to Spencer's party. She says, "We like your plan. You'll get your reward Friday, and those bitches will finally get what they deserve." Arya discusses with the friends Malcolm getting taken as they look at a poster at the school to hire a babysitter for him. She also turns down ideas to interview Malcolm about who took him and show him photos. Spencer walks up and says, I don't think Mona did that because Arya could easily track her if you like showed the photo, and it would seem like she would be trying to get caught if she did that. Side note, now this is even funnier in like hindsight of her being like,
she's really trying to like lead them to it, and like, because I remember this is one of the few things that I was like, I knew it was Spencer, because I just remember that reveal, because I was like, oh, that's pretty clever, like,
yeah.
And so and because when she gives them the brief, like the rundown of why she does it later in the bathroom, I was like, my God, you had a lot riding on Hannah asking questions.
Right, exactly. Of like someone doing something.
But then you start watching for all the openings she gave, and you're like, oh,
right.
She's like, someone should do this thing, but I have to pretend like I'm not supporting that so that I don't get caught.
Spencer, the smart one, is playing 4-dimensional chess. 5-dimensional. What's the phrase? Is it 5-dimensional? Whatever. Either way, she's setting things up. The dominoes are like aligned, subtly seated. Yeah. Arya leaves and Hannah takes the poster with her, much to Emily's chagrin. They're stopped by Shauna, who's at the high school practicing swim there because her school is going to be competing against their school in a swim meet. Emily introduces Shauna to Spencer, who flirts with Spencer. As Shauna leaves, Hannah is upset because she's the only one that doesn't get flirted with when Shauna's around. Arya stops Fitz in the hall at school and asks him how his interview here went. And he says, I don't think it's going to work out for me. And she's like, oh, too bad, and leaves. We see the Kavanaugh house still littered with newspapers. Jenna is inside on the phones talking to someone saying the police have evidence and she needs to see the person on the other side of the phone today.
Wait, sorry. I didn't ask this last time, and I should have. Why are they asking Arya about if she's dating Ezra, but not asking Ezra if he's dating Arya?
I'm sure they would in the interview that we don't see. I'm assuming he's like, before we move forward with interviewing him, we need to ask you if you are still seeing this teacher, because he might not like he may not voluntarily say that, or. But
then does Ezra lie in the interview, or do they just not ask him because Arya said no?
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know.
He could lie. There's a hole here. Someone is not doing their job as an HR representative, and I would like to know who.
And I think the principal is definitely not doing their job.
No. Sorry, carry on.
All good.
I was like, wait a minute.
We see that the camera shot watching Jenna is a POV shot as a gloved hand emerges from the bottom of the screen and pulls out their phone and texts an address and says, be there at 9. We see that it was sent to Jenna's phone. She gets the text and hangs up on the call. Jenna then looks out her front door but sees no one. Byron talks to Arya as he just learned about Fitz applying for Rosewood High. He's like, he can't be teaching there if you're seeing each other. And Arya's like, slow down. He didn't get the job. Byron's like, yes, he did. He got offered the job this morning, but wanted the day to think on it. Hannah meets Fitz at the brew to talk about the babysitting job. She has no qualifications, but she mentions she has a lot of time without her mom or Caleb in town. Fitz is hesitant, but he offers her a test run when he's like going to be busy tonight, and she says yes. Jenna visits someone in the woods, but we don't see him at first. She says, I missed you. They'll be all together on Friday. You know what you need to do. Jenna mentions that her eyesight is slowly going again, and at some point she'll be blind in the future. The camera then pulls out, and we see she's meeting with Shauna. Shauna says she'll be there for her on her darkest days. Arya meets with Fitz on a public bench. She asks why he didn't take the job or tell her, and he says, I didn't want you to share the burden, and you know what would happen if I took the job. She cries, saying that nothing about us feels right anymore, and that we can't, like, get back what we had before Malcolm came along. He's like, your happiness is what matters most to me. She says, I love you, and I want you to take the job, and she goes to leave, and he stops her to tell her he loves her, and she walks away crying. We see a diner, as camera pans around to see a person in a hoodie and gloves reviewing pictures of Jenna looking out her front door. Waitress that greets someone, but it ends up being a red herring as someone else walks in, and the waitress then says, "Oh, seat yourself, pretty eyes." And we see the pretty eyes is Toby meeting the hooded figure.
Which means what, honey?
That Toby's alive! And I was right, and I was never in doubt.
You never once had doubt?
I had not about him being alive, but more about his
intentions,
his involvement. Yeah, which could still potentially be an open question. How long he was involved, but we'll go with for now that it was just to protect Spencer, because that seems like Toby. Toby sits at the booth. He says Hannah got the job, and the hooded figure says, I know, and we see it's Spencer. He's shocked. Spencer says, in Radley, Mona said you were alive, and I didn't want to believe her. Like, I wanted to believe her, but didn't. She asks if he was in the woods. Toby says, Mona told me what happened about that after. Toby says, everything I've done to protect you. Spencer doesn't believe, and Toby asks if Mona knows that Spencer's here. She says, no, Mona promised me if I delivered her the girls on Friday. You all good?
Yeah, there's just dog fur in my microphone. And then I couldn't tell what side it was on. And so then I was like, oh, did I fuck up where it was?
Okay. Yeah, you're all good.
Okay. I was just like...
If I delivered her the girls on Friday, you would be okay. She found Toby's location when Mona left her alone in the mobile A layer. She then says, I kidnapped a 7-year-old, ... But now that Arya and Fitz have broken up, I'm in her good graces. Toby says, what we had was real. Everything I did was to keep you safe, and I need you to follow me. Hannah and Malcolm are hanging watching cartoons. She gets him to stop watching cartoons by saying it'll rot his brain, and he goes along with that, which that never worked on me as a kid. I'm like, sure, whatever.
I won't need that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, like, you know.
I'm a white dude. I'm not going to need my brain.
Well, it was more like, I don't believe you, so I'm going to keep watching these. It seems pretty cool to watch cartoons, actually, and, like, only beneficial. She says, let's play Guess Who, and shows him pictures of people to ask him who, like, took him to the carnival. She shows him lots of photos, like Jenna and Cece and Toby, and he's like, nope, none of those, and that's a man. She lets him play on his phone while she uses the landline to call Emily and says she struck out. We then see that Emily's on a run talking to Hannah on the phone when Emily sees Melissa outside the Kavanaugh house knocking on the door. She gets let in, and then we see she's talking to Jenna and Shauna inside. Emily's watching them from outside, and Melissa shows the three of them the invite. Spencer and Toby are at a motel. Toby mentions he shuffles between a few motels, but Mona doesn't know about this one. Toby doesn't know who Redcoat is, only that she's in charge. Spencer is still angry and hurt by his disappearance. Toby also cries silently. They then embrace and kiss. Hannah puts together a plate for Malcolm, and as she's doing it, he's looking at her phone, and he's like, oh, this is Allison right here in the picture. And we see that he's looking at a photo that was texted at Hannah's phone of Allie and Spencer sent from a blocked ID. Hannah's like, that can't be her. And he's like, yes, I remember her pretty hair and in the blue shirt. And we see that Spencer is the one in the blue shirt, and Hannah is shocked. Emily and Spencer catch up Arya on the big happenings. And Arya's like, wait, what happened with you? Hold on, what happened with you?
Or Arya's like, I just broke up with Ezria, right, and I just wanted to have like maybe a girls' night, like have some pizza, watch an old movie.
I just wanted to be in my feelings, but good God.
Write some poetry.
Yeah, Arya's like, oh my God. She's like, nothing is safe anymore. I'm ready to check myself into Radley. Which, honestly, seems totally fine. Like, other than like, I'm sure Ren as a doctor is just fine.
Are you?
No. Fair enough. That's the only thing. But otherwise, it seems just fine.
I want to go hang out with Eddie.
It gets a bad rap.
Well, I mean, I think it's because it's like, it looks a little too institutionalized and less like comfortable.
Right. This is, yeah.
I want it to look more like a retirement community, like a nice retirement community.
Yeah. But Spencer was like, she didn't have any issue being there.
Seemed fine.
Yeah. So,
you go do what you
Bradley
need to
got a bad rap. Emily doesn't believe that Spencer's on the A team. We then see a POV shot outside the window watching them. Arya thinks that Spencer is really in it, and Emily's like, there's a way for us to prove that Spencer's still with us. Hannah kind of looks outside the window, but doesn't actually see whoever's watching them. She then walks over to turn on music to drown out their conversation, and it's just like, with everything happening, do you think we're really meeting in secret? Spencer and Toby then have a sex scene set to, I believe, Lana Del Rey. The next day, Arya meets Fitz at school. He, as you pointed out, this is reflecting their conversation after...
At Allison's funeral.
Yeah, in like the stairwell.
At the church.
Yes, except this is at the school, right? Yeah. She asks if he remembers what he said at Allie's funeral. There never was a happy ending for us, was there? He says it doesn't have to be forever, and she says, I need to move on, and so do you. She goes to leave, and he stops her, and they make out, but then she leaves him.
Which was also like bold. Like, you just got hired at the high school and you're going to make out with a high schooler in the stairwell?
Oh, right.
I mean, this also shows that, like, so I bet now most high schools have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like surveillance state kind of stuff. When we were in high school, we didn't have a lot of cameras.
No, and we barely had any buildings that were like that. We had one building, I think, that was like 2 stories like that, but all the other ones were like portables.
See, we just had like all of ours open to the outdoors.
Yeah.
We had an outdoor school.
Oh, nice.
Sure.
Yeah. We just had tons of like small classrooms and portables. Yeah. And then just, I think now they've changed it. It looks like a prison.
It's because they fence the high schools in now too.
Yeah.
Which I get is to protect them, but also makes you trapped.
Yeah. It's not. Is it really actually protecting them? Probably not.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's really shows that any of that actually does.
I don't know, because if there's only one way in and out of the campus, it probably makes it less likely for someone to come in and hurt people.
Right, but then there's also one way in, one way out, and really, shouldn't we be addressing a wider problem anyway?
Yes, we should.
But yeah,
but
you're probably right.
I mean, the school can't necessarily change.
Right, exactly.
Law.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
It's all a mess.
Yeah,
America sucks, man. Sometimes
it really does. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer, but we can't we can't solve that on this podcast.
No. We can't. We cannot solve that on this podcast, nor are Arya and her friends worried about this at all.
No, not at all.
It's an idyllic time.
Yeah, this was written by
people who did not suffer from people who were not. Marlene King would be older than a millennial, I assume.
Yeah, at least Gen X.
I would assume.
Yeah. There's a swim meet at the school. Spencer arrives with a big crowd of people and looks around and sees someone in a red coat entering the school. She goes to follow and loses the red coat in a sea of other jackets and things, but then sees one inside and goes to follow them. She follows them into the women's bathroom to find them just standing there. She touches them and it turns around and it's Hannah. Hannah says, "You followed me here. That means you don't know who she is either." Emily then pops out of a stall and says, "That means you're still one of us."
She was born the same year as my mother.
Oh, wow.
So she's a boomer Gen X cusper.
Uh-huh.
That explains a lot, doesn't it?
It does. It does. The 3 friends then hold an intervention on Spencer and say they want to help her, but she needs to give up the hoodies now. Spencer says Mona came to see me at Radley and wanted to break me and then mold me into someone she could use. Toby's alive, by the way, and he's working with Mona because he found out about Redcoat, and Mona is the only one who knows who she is. Spencer says the party is a setup. Redcoat wants us all to be together. Hannah asks when she was going to clue them in. Spencer says, "I sent you the text of Allison and I last night, and it worked perfectly. Great job." They say tomorrow we'll all be waiting for Redcoat. They gather in class, waiting for it to start. As Fitz comes in to teach as a substitute and introduces himself to everybody, all the friends look at Arya, who looks sad. What did she think was going to happen? Arya and Emily wait in Hannah's kitchen, ready for the party tonight. Arya really just puts herself in danger, in like horribly tragic and emotionally wrought situations. But sorry, getting back to the summary. Arya and Emily wait in Hannah's kitchen, ready for the party, like all dressed up. Hannah walks in, also dressed up, and Arya asks how she could afford new shoes, and Hannah's like, "The store gives you full refunds if you turn them fast enough," and Emily's like, "That's only if you don't wear them." We see someone recording them outside as they all leave. Spencer and Toby are at the lodge with Mona. Spencer says they're running late, and Mona's upset by this. Spencer and Toby kiss. This is like when it's even, they do this in Twilight too, but like the 3 like villain robbers and like 2 of them are like super into each other and just like lots of PDA. Exactly. Mona says she wants them all here and you have no idea what she's capable of. You don't want to mess with her. Toby assures her that that they know nothing about what's happening. The friends arrive, but have changed into black spy clothes instead of their dresses. They go into the lodge as someone watches them enter, and they wonder aloud if they can trust Toby. Mona calls someone, and we see that someone is in a plane. As Heather helpfully pointed out, is a Cessna.
Yeah, because planes.
Yeah, I was like, yep, of course, a Cessna.
Duh. She's like, "Yeah, is it a Cessna?" And I was like, "Who?"
Yeah. No, Cece's not in this episode.
I don't think I know that one.
Right. Is that a ship? Mona says it's safe for you to land. It'll all end and you'll get what you always wanted. The 3 friends enter the house. Mona suggests the A-team go for a walk while they wait and hands Toby a flashlight. And he's like, "I'll take care of Spencer." And Spencer's like, "What the hell? You won't get away with this." And Mona says, I'd say watch me, but like you won't be here to see it. Toby leads Spencer into the woods as a plane flies overhead. He says if something goes wrong, you know what you need to do. We see the exterior of the house. Someone closes a latch over the door. It's like a simple like bolt latch to like lock it, and then puts a screwdriver through the bolt. Mona goes to leave and gets cornered by the other three friends inside the house. She says, you're making a terrible mistake and you have no idea what's going on here. The plane pulls in for a landing as Toby and Spencer walk in the woods. Spencer hears someone walking, and he says, get to the plane, Spencer, and remember, see her, but make sure she doesn't see you. A gloved hand lights the invitation on fire, and we see them put it on a line of gasoline heading to the lodge. Mona notices the fire and is just like, what have you done? They all freak out. Mona has no signal on her phone. She's like, it's her. She's jamming my phone. She's everywhere and nowhere. Mona says, we're all going to burn or I'll never know who she was. And the friends are all, wait, hold up. You don't know who she is either? Spencer walks and finds the plane and she sees a red coat get out. Spencer thinks she sees Allie in the red coat and follows after her. We see someone with a flashlight walk through the woods wearing the same clothes as the person who set the fire. They go to turn around, and Toby is watching them and following them. And they go to turn around, but Toby gets hit in the back of the head. And the person who hit Toby throws a lighter at his feet, or like near his head. We see the three friends trapped in the house getting dragged out. Hannah opens her eyes and sees Allie staring down at her in a red coat. We see Spencer notice the fire and walk over. Mona then walks over to the three friends asking if anyone saw her. Emily asks who, and Mona says, Allison, she pulled us all out. Aria doesn't believe her, and Mona says, she was here, I swear it. Hannah says, I saw her too, and Spencer walks up and says, so did I. Allison is red coat. Toby wakes up and finds the lighter that has like a compass on it with the north, east, west, south, like cardinal directions on it, and also a northwest. I don't know if that'll come up later, but just something to know. The friends plus Mona are driving away. Mona says it all started when she was at Radley and someone visited her. She made a deal with the devil, and she gave me a way in and out of Radley. It started out fun with a partner, but she stole you away from me. Emily asks if she drugged you. Emily asks if Mona had drugged her. Mona says, I didn't drug you, but I was at the cemetery, and so was Redcoat. I didn't know who Redcoat was because she wore a mask that looked just like Allison. Aria says it must have been a mask tonight. That's why you all saw Allison. They drive up and see Wilden's police car parked in front of the church. They walk up and see the dashboard cam running inside with Ashley hitting Wilden. The video then cuts, and we see Jenna and Shauna pick up Wilden and help him walk away. They circle around to the trunk. All their phones go off to a text from A that says, you're mine now. Kisses. Spencer opens the trunk, and we see the camera pointing out from the trunk to the friends so we don't see what's inside as everyone gasps. We see the same scene from Allison's backyard where her hand emerged. I believe that was from the Halloween episode in season 3. Not Allison. It's Allison's backyard. My theory is it's Allison's hand. Emerges from the ground, but this time a hand reaches down to help pull the person out. The end.
There's a really funny series of like outtakes from, I think this season is when they really started posting a lot of the bloopers. I guess, yeah, maybe season 2 too. But there's a really funny outtake of them opening the trunk and then it just slamming back down.
No, and they're like, oh, and it just closes.
And I was like, that'd be me.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's talk about our new favorite trio.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna, Melissa, Shauna.
Yes. Confirmation of Team LuLaRoe, Cutco. I've really lost the plot on that. But our like BA team. I was very happy that we got confirmation on this. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, this is an answer that it's confirmation, but we don't know why or what they're doing. And we know that they're separate from everyone else.
Were they at the lodge?
Lodge, they're the ones who set the fire. That's what I think. So,
do you think they intentionally were trying to kill the girls?
Yes, I think they were trying to not the girls. Well, I think they're trying to intentionally kill whoever is like targeting them, which I think is excuse me. Mona and all that. But I don't know if they know specifically who is targeting them, and more that they're getting these texts. And so they know, they're like, to hell with actually meeting with these people. We're gonna light the fire. And I think, well, I'll save that. I need to like parcel some of the remaining theories out to your questions. But so I will answer this question as I believe they are ones who, as Billy Joel said, they started the fire.
Okay. How long have Jenna and Shauna been seeing each other?
Yeah, so from way back, because is it the season 2 finale where Jenna meets with someone, we don't see who it is, and Jenna says, I'm so glad I actually get to see you. So this
at that same picnic table.
And so
there's a lot of parallels in this episode to previous episodes, and I think they tried really hard to call them out because it's been so long.
And it's interesting that they, along with those parallels, there are so many mysteries that I would never even have remembered or thought about to keep track of. Pretty Eyes, this one, where it's just these callbacks to like minor scenes of like, see, like this is all stitched together and we had a plan. Whether or not they did, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I think I will have to see as we rewatch. I think up until season, probably like end of season 4, season 5, there was like a concrete plan. I'm not sure if how they do the A reveal was how they intended to do the A reveal.
Interesting.
Because it doesn't, to me, and we'll have to see as I rewatch, I'm not sure if it makes sense.
Okay.
Like when I watched it, I was like, I'm not sure if I think this tracks.
Like lines up, yeah.
Or if I think it's like something that was really thought through. But that's not to say it wasn't. Maybe I just missed it the first watch through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what you're looking for. Yeah, I was like, huh. All right. And then you just keep going because the hits start coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah.
But
so
sorry, carry on. But yes, I think this part had been planned, or at least like they were threads that they had intended to pick back up.
But yeah, there's this whole wider history with Shauna that we're now getting of, and now we know who she was working for too, or at least like putting forward for, and what other things has Shauna been involved in, and so we also get to call into question what Paige is doing. Where's Paige's involvement in all this?
What is Paige's involvement?
One would suspect that Paige knows some of what they were doing and feels very bad about it. Maybe Paige was doing this from a hurtful place and then is now like just another thing for Spencer to be like, I can't believe you did this. And Paige being like, I'm sorry.
For Spencer or Emily?
For Emily.
Okay. I was like, Spencer didn't trust Paige, so that does work too.
Right. I forgot about that. She tried to drown you, Emily.
She did.
Yeah. So
we just all let that go. Well, some of us didn't, but
yeah. I think she was she's not like deeply involved, but like was mixed up in it and is now like feeling bad about it. So I think
feel like there's two directions. There's either that or Paige has no fucking clue what's going on. She dated this girl a long time ago, and then she's like, she might know things. She worked at the costume shop.
Right.
And like the idea of Paige being that out of the loop to me is kind of funny.
I think either way, Paige is really out of the loop.
Oh, I think she's screwed.
The optics look bad. And Paige has just been out of town with Caleb, I guess.
They're on a romantic motorcycle ride, or a friendship motorcycle ride.
Ashley to go along with her to the seminar for the promotion.
Maybe she needed security.
Exactly.
To New York.
We need our crack team on the case.
So you think that team Melissa, Shauna, Jenna locked them in?
Yeah.
Do you think they knew that they were in there when they locked them in?
No. Well, oh yeah, no, they saw him go in. Yeah, so I think that they locked him in. I don't think they know who's like texting them.
So they were willing to kill Melissa's willing to kill her sister to figure it out?
To like stop it. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't see Spencer go in.
Oh, that's true. Spencer left.
Yeah.
But how would they know that Spencer's not in there? Because they're watching?
I guess so.
And then how would that plan have been? Yeah.
I don't think it really matters either way. But I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Even if Melissa is not the one to light the match, I think that's like, it's like that team. I think Shauna was potentially one doing that. We don't know if Jenna and Shauna included Melissa in that plan.
Oh.
Melissa goes to see them about the party.
That's right. And tells them they'll be there. And then it's only two people because Toby sees someone in the woods and then someone else bonks him on the head.
Exactly. He hears 2 sounds.
Footsteps and then the sound of the flashlight hitting his head.
Yep.
He doesn't hear himself hit the ground.
Nope. If Toby falls in the forest.
But they left the lighter.
Mm-hmm.
To make it look like he did it.
I think they're wearing gloves, so I don't think it really matters.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessarily because he wakes up.
Yeah.
I think they're just getting rid of it.
Fair enough. Okay. Was it Allie that dragged them out?
It's either Allison or Cece.
And who got off the plane?
Right.
And is the person who got off the plane the same person that dragged them out?
Yes.
Okay. So there's only one person in a red coat, you think?
Yeah, at least in this episode.
Okay.
There could be multiple people in red coats, but I keep trying to... You know, the first thought I had when the plane lands, I was like, Duncan.
I know you did say that. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Everybody's favorite character.
You think they're going to bring him back?
Right. I like that red coat also is like, I'm going to fly a plane there. There's a landing.
Also, Redcoat can fly a plane, so who is that?
Allison. Or potentially Cece.
Do you think Cece can fly a plane?
I don't know. Maybe she was hanging around with Duncan.
Maybe.
We don't know much about Cece. Did I think Allison could fly a plane? No. Did I think any of these people could fly a plane? No.
Why did she learn with Duncan?
I guess. It seems like they just flew up in the plane. It didn't really sound like he was teaching her, but...
Well, she was the one who wanted to fly. He forced Arya to fly. Those are two very different scenarios.
Grab the yoke.
Your friend liked being in control.
Or else we both crash.
There's a reason why Duncan didn't come back.
Yeah, but either Allison or Cece, and there are theories to build off of which one of those.
Okay, and then so what was Redcoat's intention having the girls there if the other group were the ones lighting them on fire?
To try and get the other group there. I don't think Redcoat foresaw the other group lighting the fire and trying to kill them.
Okay.
I think she was trying. I think when Mona is earlier in the episode speaking to Spencer, and it says those bitches will get what's coming to them. I don't think Spencer knows that Mona isn't referring to the 3 friends.
Oh, you think she's referring to Shauna, Melissa, and Jenna?
Yeah.
So these girls are just pawns in a war of two
Exactly.
teams.
This is going all the way back to that earlier theory I had. The 2-team theory. It's like the 2-guy theory. And not 2-guy theory. That's not a theory.
I was like, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's on essentially electronic music Twitter, like dance music Twitter. Someone was joking that it's just like, yep, 2 guys, like you just need 2 guys to like essentially be like a duo, like and there was like he made like some joke. It's just like lads can't hang out with each other anymore without like doing a fresh take on dance music. And so people have got it.
Yeah, you boys couldn't just hang out.
Exactly. So it's 2-guy theory.
Okay. So Redcoat, they were all trying to trap the other gals.
Yes.
Arya and Ezra, let's just handle it real quick. What do you think's gonna happen?
So I'm assuming. I guess we don't get. We do get time jumps at the beginning of seasons, huh? Because it'll be like after summer potential. No, wait, no. Well, we'll see.
So I can tell you right now that season 4 picks up exactly where this one leaves.
Oh, okay.
So we immediately see what's in the trunk.
Right. Okay. No, that would make.
I think
it's not like a time jump and then like flashing back to them.
No, and also so in between now and season 5, it is going to be their senior year.
Okay.
So it has been their senior year from season 3 to I believe season 5.
5. Got it.
End of season 4, early season 5. There's literally like it is just a 3-year long senior year.
Got it. Yeah, I mean the super seniors.
But it's the same year.
Right. It's gonna be a lot of.
So I don't think we get another Halloween special. Because
Right.
I was like, we don't get another Halloween special for a while, but I know we get a Christmas special. And I was like, oh, that's why. Because we're in the same year. So basically,
Right.
I'm pretty sure this next season, until like the midpoint of season 4, when you get the Christmas special, I'd have to double check, is like supposed to take place over the course of like a month and a half.
Oh my god.
I'm not 100% on that, but
I think, but season 4's Halloween episode version is the backdoor pilot for Ravenswood.
mm-hmm. And then maybe season 5 is when we get the Christmas. We get a Christmas special at one point.
It's very funny. So okay. What was the question again?
Oh, I got distracted by my.
Oh, where do we think Ezria is going?
Yeah. What's happening with Ezria?
It's gonna be like some weird tension between them at in classes, and Arya might try and push him away, and he'll like try and get more involved with Malcolm and stuff, but then like they'll be back together, and then Fitz would be like, well, I'm so glad you came back, but it got kind of weird between me and Maggie, and now it's gonna be this whole thing, and it's like,
do you think
I'm already like,
you're already like, oh, there's something's gonna happen with Ezra and Maggie, like they're gonna
potentially, or there's gonna be
why I didn't just say kisses
Yes.
beyond me.
We like making noises,
I'm like, what if they just
you know, sitting in a tree.
they woohoo?
Yes.
That's how they got Malcolm.
Yeah. Yes, and Fitz's money or parents had used Rosebud to get as much money as possible.
Yeah. Rosewood : semicolon : semicolon. Yeah, that's my favorite cheat code in the world. I don't play The Sims unless I can have unlimited money, because life is not fun when you're poor. And I know that from experience.
You know why we need to watch Citizen Kane now, so you can understand what the reference is.
I don't need to understand the reference to know I like the cheat code in The Sims. I don't think I need to see Citizen Kane. Every white man I've ever encountered probably thinks I need to see it, and that's fine. That's on him.
I've never seen it either, but I do want to. It's like one of those things like, I should watch that.
But is it actually good, or is it just like people think it's good?
I like Orson Welles, so I bet it's good.
Okay.
And it's like one of the first films to do a specific type of storytelling.
Okay.
So that's why it's famous.
Regardless.
But it's
Speaking of Ezria,
yeah.
sunrise, sunset, it's just going to keep being back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen with Malcolm? Anything?
It's just going to be a roadblock, speed bump.
That's what I always call children.
Yeah.
A little speed bump, they're in the way.
Little plot speed bump.
These
That's
little,
Malcolm.
little nuisances. No.
Yep, that's pretty much what it's going to be.
Okay. What's in Wilden's trunk? I know this one. I remember this one vividly because you're like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Just pick a thing. Like what's the first thought you've had when you think of what could be in that trunk?
When I think of trunk, I think of someone's body in there. But I don't think it's a body.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know. It's like so hard because it's got to be something they all immediately recognize.
Uh-huh.
Can't wait to find out what this is next week.
It's just funny to watch you like be like, and I'm like,
I don't know, because it's got to be something that also Wilden was freaked out about because he needed his car.
so you think this was already in the trunk? You don't think this was put in the trunk by whoever put his car in the middle of the town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless Wilden's body's in the trunk, which I could see that.
That would have been good.
Yeah. But because then also Jenna is going, police have evidence. And I think that's relating to Wilden. So what the fuck is it?
How is the computer in his car still working?
Well, I mean, just as Arya tells Hannah that things can work underwater, God knows. These are very resilient. Do you know how big cop budgets are? So they make these motherfuckers built to last. I honestly have
No clue. No clue what's in the trunk. No clue what's going to happen with the car.
Because it's something. It's like, I own you now kisses.
Mm-hmm.
So what is all connecting them? That they would be like, oh my God.
I think the footage in the car is
it like the red coat? Is the red coat in the car? Yeah. Okay. I don't. That's the best guess. Because it's got to be like a piece of evidence or something.
It's me. It's going to show a mirror.
Right, exactly.
You're going to be...
It was the audience the whole time.
That's how I thought the show would end.
Right? I remember you saying
I was like, the screen's just going to go black, and then I'd be like, you were A. You were the only person who gave a fuck. And I was going to be like, fair enough.
Look at you. You were the one watching all these people and like keeping tabs on them the entire time. We're indicting you, the audience.
They just show like crazy fan Twitters.
Right, exactly. Getting a little too cheeky.
Who pulled Allie out of the grave?
I want to say that was Cece.
I know this. I remember these ones. Like I know the answers.
Yeah,
to this one.
or Mona. I still think that like A team is aligned with Allison, and so the people on that side were there trying to assist her somehow against these other people.
Okay.
I think the other crew were doing something horrible to Allison and other people. And so I think that's why I think like this A team would have pulled Allison out of the grave.
Okay. Someone commented and asked this question that they wanted me to ask more of when and who you think will die. Mm-hmm. Because we are going to start adding up a body count soon. Okay. Soonish. The second half of the show is a lot more murdery than the first half. Well, I mean, I guess
that's
like,
just like the acceleration of like where we're at in the show. Of like how much violence is being done on these characters. Mm-hmm. Just this season, Arya was in a box going over the edge and Garrett died.
Well, and last season, Caleb got shot.
Yeah. Wait,
Emily
no, that was this season.
Killed a man. Oh, yeah, it was this season, huh? Because it was the mid-season.
This didn't happen until season 3.
I know. Season 3 is great.
It really steps up and like hit the pedal.
Okay, so who's going to die in season 4?
My bet would be like Shauna or Wilden.
Why?
They're like these like side accessory characters that are more vulnerable than our core crew. Okay. And I think they have Jenna in here for the long haul. Mm-hmm. Because it's really easy to have her like come in and just be the worst. And I think Melissa is also too good at being the worst also, and we're just starting to get revelations about her. Mm-hmm. That her part has a bigger part to play. And in my theories, Cece has a big part, so I don't think she's going to be getting axed. Mm-hmm. Let's see, who else would be potentially vulnerable? I don't like a Paige or a Lucas are also kind of like in that like nebulous region. Yeah, not that I want to keep targeting the gay characters, but I think they are ones on the chopping block. That'd be most likely. So we'll see.
Do you think anyone? So Caleb was shot. Mm-hmm. Hannah was kind of stabbed. She kind of stabbed herself, but whatever. Who's gonna get hurt in season 4? Oh, Hannah's been hit by a car. She's been stabbed.
Spencer, I don't think has been hurt yet. Just emotionally.
Just emotionally.
So I think it's maybe Spencer's turn on the physical torment pain.
Yeah, because Emily physically hurt her.
Toby has
fucked with herself. Fucked with her with her cream. That was Mona. So that was back in the Mona A days.
Yeah. Giving her
steroids.
Yeah, steroids
that I don't think you can absorb through the skin.
HGH. Yeah. And Emily was also trapped in that building.
Yes. Spencer wasn't in the burning building.
No.
Isn't that suspicious?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm still on the main characters are off limits at the moment. Okay. And we also see the person that was pouring gasoline is wearing gloves and like different sort of outfit than Spencer's like party dress and heels.
Very true. Very true.
But I mean, they also did pull the trick on us that the last episode's Spencer scenes were out of order. Mm-hmm. Sorry, what was the question again? I'm a little scatterbrained.
Who else is gonna get hurt? Who's gonna get hurt? Byron gets shot.
Yeah.
Playing Mad Libs over here.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, Pastor Ted
gets hit by a car. If you're around the married
runaway
women,
Belle.
it has to do with a car.
Yeah, Belle falls on him.
Ashley hits Pastor Ted. She just keeps
she
just keeps going.
She's got a taste for blood now. She's like a shark.
A bloodthirsty businesswoman.
At the Mercedes must kill. It's like Christine.
I love it. Also, how did Wilden not dent Ashley's car?
Yeah. Didn't even
Didn't even scratch.
Exactly, in shows also when someone goes over the windshield or goes over the front of the car, it's like they break the windshield.
Yeah, he didn't break the windshield.
No.
Well, he's just a fluffy boy.
She's got a nice car, that's why.
Well,
this is why you buy those expensive cars.
See, when you hit,
no dents, no scratches. You can kill a man and you won't even have as much as a blood spatter.
Why did Shauna and Jenna go get Wilden?
That is a very good question. I think so. Wilden is scared about what activity is like something that someone is holding over him, and he needs to get that car because there's something in the car, I would assume, that would have some sort of impact on him. And I think Wilden has evidence on Jenna for doing something, Jenna and crew. Okay. And so that's why Jenna is freaking out, because Wilden contacted her. It's just like, hey, you need to like get pressure on these people to try and help me out. So I think they're one removed from each other of like this chain of, well, I got blackmailed, so now I'm blackmailing you, to try and coerce them into getting that. So I think that's why they went and helped him out.
Okay.
Helping him out off the ground makes it seem like they're more aligned.
How did they know he was there?
Yeah, exactly. Are they following him? They could have been following him. Just saw him go over the windshield. We don't know.
Like,
I don't think
fair, Ashley. Good job. Like, we're not going to report her.
I didn't see the timestamps on there either. And so maybe they were like, if we... Yeah, that's a weird one. Because then why would you help him out if he's got evidence on you, sort of thing? So maybe there's more of a partnership there than I was initially thinking. And that has to do with whatever evidence that they're talking about. Maybe my initial theory of Wilden and Jenna in cahoots had more power to it.
More merit.
Yeah.
I almost said more Marin.
Less Marin.
Less Marin. Okay. Would you like to predict some season 4 plot points, or do your theories first?
Let's do theory corner, and then we can come back around at the end to do plot points. So, sorry, I just need to rearrange a few things on the desk. Let us step into... Brenton's Theory Corner Finale Edition.
Season 3 finale.
Yes,
you keep saying finale like it's over. Baby boy, you got so much to go. You got no answers.
I know.
And I mean, that is how you will feel when the show ends. But
so
you're just prepared for the feeling of disappointment.
We're very happy that I was right about Toby being alive. At least our current conception of Toby's involvement of just trying to protect Spencer. Feeling very good about that. 2 teams. One being Jenna on the other side. I know I had a burp.
You all right?
Yep. And that they're like competing against one another. Not competing, but like, they're essentially a war between the two. We like all that. And so with Redcoat, essentially, I think it's still the floating theory of these two sides is that the side of the A team is essentially trying to get them back, the other side, and targeting them for some sort of slight that like Allison was involved with that is spread far beyond them. Mm-hmm. And I think it traces all the way back to Allison as this involvement, and wasn't I'm going to take Mona's explanation at face value this week. Well, no, we're going to toss that out. Mona was Mona was like slightly involved, even if she wasn't was involved in this too. And I think that time that she met Allison at the store in whatever that extra town was is when Allison got her involved. That was, if you remember, the conversation that Mona said that like Allison had kind of like come clean on like being like A or something, right? I'm trying to remember what their conversation was. Oh, that Mona revealed to Allison that she was texting her, or that someone was texting. Allison was like
watching. She was doing a stakeout, watching for whoever had been texting her, and Mona saw her.
Right.
But we now know Mona was probably A.
That's what I don't think so. So that's why I think it's Mona gets involved at that point. Okay. And that A, quote unquote, was someone different.
Okay.
And was more related to the Jenna side of things. Okay. And so Allison gets Mona involved on this, and they essentially take the A moniker for their own use. Okay. Okay. We've got those two groups established. And so now the A team is targeting the NAT club group and going after them. We don't have as much to get. We can guess about Shauna and Jenna's involvement going back a long way. There's some shared past there and like secret relationship between one another. Okay. Why they're not out in the open, we don't entirely know. But I don't have as much to speculate on that, other than I think that would be a season 4 plot point that we get to. And so again, to reiterate, I think the NAT club, the trap at the lodge was to trap the NAT club and get what they wanted. And the friends are merely a pawn to help attract the NAT club to come after them. The friends are essentially a layer removed from the actual A team so that the NAT club people don't know who's targeting them and keeps them guessing. With the way that the A team is constantly pointed the friends and the protagonist back toward the NAT club people. And then we see the NAT club people slowly getting bumped off one by one. I don't think Jason's involved with them. I think Jason is just caught up in the middle. Yeah. I don't think
Jason has ever made a choice to be involved with anything in his life.
Other than starting the NAT club, it has been one big mistake. That is a huge mistake for him that has like had major repercussions.
You know how you know this was written by a woman? It's a white man serving multiple repercussions for one big boy mistake. A man would never punish a man for this long.
Yeah, they would have just been done with it. I
love it.
Yeah.
Jason should pay. It's creepy.
Yeah, it is very creepy. And so we get to the point of who is Red Coat. And I floated the idea that it is either Allison, alive in the flesh, which seems much more likely that the show is really pointing to that she's like alive. That's like what the assumption that you're supposed to take away from this episode is. Or I think it's Cece. So we'll start with Allison. Allison being potentially pulled out of that grave because she's wearing she's wearing a specific bracelet as she gets pulled out, and that Allison had this involvement with people, had gotten in too deep, and I think is much more like a Laura Palmer in that like she was not in like the leader of any of these evil machinations, but like was involved with so many people and like a loose cannon and like would bully people for sure, but is more of a victim to these larger like forces like the NAT club people, resulting in her getting her like lip busted open, and even her involvement with like Ian and stuff. That's not really on her. I mean, you know. That's like a predatory guy.
Almost similar to how when Melissa was like, "Oh, I thought you were just mean. I didn't think you were there's actually something wrong."
Right?
Like maybe Allison has a similar defense.
Yes, totally. Okay. Like that Melissa's like, "Oh my God, this like horrible like girl that like that she's probably going after." Is like just that a girl who is like very mixed up in things.
Fun.
So these people are targeting Allison. She ropes in Mona and things like that, then gets attacked And I think maybe then we can map back and say Allison, with things like when you're mentioning with the diary, is trying to seed a little bit more things because she understands that people are targeting her and after her, and she needs to like protect herself, like with the storage locker, the snow globe, all these other things like that, to like kind of protect herself against these NAT club people. And I think that's also why you get like the videos locked away. And then when she gets attacked but saved and dies, stays dead and operates instead from the shadows as like red coat. And so whoever saved her, I think like is probably, now that I'm thinking about it, is probably like a Cece, not Mona, or maybe just Cece at this point if we're going by that route. I guess it could have been Mona too, but no, because Mona seems genuinely surprised in this episode, and Mona also doesn't know who's in the red coat. So Cece's my only one that I could have a good idea for this. I don't know who else would it be, which then complicates my next theory, which I'll get to. So she is now seizes the opportunity with Mona being. With Mona being involved, gets Mona to enact things and like branches out like that way and operates kind of from the shadows as red coat.
Okay.
Alternatively, Cece. Cece was like in a sense a protege to Allison, and like helps out here. Gets wronged by the NAT club, and that could potentially explain why her relationship soured with Jason. This could be a more personal vendetta. There's a couple options. There's a more personal vendetta against the NAT club, rather than about Allison, about like what they did to her. And Allison could have been caught up in that as well. Okay. And so Cece again is trying to target the NAT club, not the friends. Similar sort of vibe of separating all that up. And also, who's the person that visits Mona and Radley that we don't know about? Cece. So that could have been the person that she comes in with and has made the deal with the devil, because that is the person that was visiting Mona, and Mona was actually being 100% truthful when she said that she took you all away from me and is now making us run this thing. She could have visited Mona wearing an Allison mask or something. And showed her how to get in and out of Radley and all that stuff. Or it could be different, and like Cece is actually following along these people because she saw what happened to Allison at the hands of these people. Wilden, how does he factor in? A little bit mysterious, other than we know that he was involved with the younger girls and is attracted to them and things. And so I think he's still mainly being a creep that is being blackmailed and is passing on that blackmail to people. So I think either of if it is the Cece theory, it's the one where she's getting a vendetta against the NAT club and is actually literally stolen from Mona, or it is actually Allison trying to navigate people to go after an NAT club, and that's why she like rushes in and like helps the friends out. Whew.
How you feeling?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Big time theories.
And small time answers.
That's right. I think that's it for all my theories this week then.
Perfect. All right.
Give me 1 minute and we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Get out of your corner.
Get out.
Okay, final, just like quick thoughts. Like, what do you think's gonna happen in season 4?
Yeah. So I'm gonna consult my list of outstanding questions. So Paige and Shauna.
I will say, season 4 has a couple of my favorite scenes. One of them, which is a really great meme of a character.
Okay.
That is used. I don't know if it's still used, but it was like it was a thing for a while. So just hold on for that. I think it's season 4. I'm almost positive it's the end of season 4.
Gotcha. I think we're going to get more news on Wilden's involvement and either Wilden being completely disgraced or Wilden being taken off the map.
Okay.
I think we are going to get more on Cece's past, which is going to make her look more guilty. We're also going to get more on Melissa's past, which will make her seem more guilty and a more confrontational air along with Spencer, to Spencer.
Okay.
Paige and Shauna, we will get some things that makes Paige looks way more guilty than she is.
Story of Paige's life.
Life, right. And then Shauna will be confronted and will disappear for a while.
Okay.
as you usually do. I don't know if we'll get more on like who pulled Allison out of the grave. I think we'll get more things of questioning whether Allison is still alive, but we won't get an answer to it.
Okay. You don't think we're going to get an answer in season 4 to that?
No.
Okay. Or who pulled you out of the grave?
Right. Okay. I don't think that's coming.
Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah. Ren will also continue to look more guilty, and his involvement will be there. And Eddie Lamb will get a little bit more time to shine.
Love Eddie Lamb.
And I think Eddie Lamb's involvement is going to come with us finding out more about Toby's mother's stay at Radley. And also maybe make Toby look more guilty again and cause some more strife with Spoby. Because, again,
I will
waves
say
and crashes.
one of the things I appreciate about this show is I do feel like now that we're watching it quicker, like at the time, everything was excruciating.
Right.
Like 1 week, it's like you get 45 minutes of a show at a time that's like got so many open mysteries. But they don't leave the characters apart for very long in the couples that people really liked. Like they really listen to the fans in that way because like.
And at least
this was like the longest Spoby break, I feel.
And when Spoby dissolved, we got at least some fun things where we know Toby's bad, dark Toby. And so we get to follow along with that. And that's fun.
I can't say they'll be together forever without any interruptions.
Right. That's not how these shows work.
That's not how these shows work. But it will be, I think it's a little less painful for the next season.
Fair.
I don't remember.
I like it. Well, I'll hold you to it.
Don't worry, it'll hurt again though.
Don't I know it? Yeah, I think that's the big stuff. And then, we'll get a resolution to Caleb and his dad. We'll have more Ezria up and down, like I already talked about.
Sunrise, sunset.
Yep. Emily and Paige's relationship will probably end for a while. And then, Caleb goes on his new adventure next season. And
will he come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Ravenswood is only one season. So I believe he does come back. So that'll be fun to also watch too.
What couples are in game?
Spoby and I think everybody's other than Emily's relationship right now.
You don't think Paige and Emily are in game?
No. Emily. Is that it? I forget what it was.
I think. I don't know. I don't remember.
Emily.
You know what I didn't look into is
ship names.
The ship names.
Yeah.
Spoby and Caleb just really stick, and Ezria just kind of stick.
I'm a big fan of Pashley.
There's a later Emily ship name that it will be very like it sticks really well.
Okay.
You'll be like, yeah.
Yeah. So, so we have a new one. Shauna.
Not Shauna.
Shauna. What about Jenna? No. Okay. What about Shauna? No. Okay. So I think that's probably all my predictions.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. And you think Shauna will die or Paige?
No. Oh, sorry. Most likely would be Shauna or Wilden.
So.
Yeah, I'm leaning more toward Wilden. I think you're kind of running out with like...
They already almost killed him, and right? The audience liked it, so maybe we should do it again and mean it.
Well, I think you're also kind of running out with avenues to go with him. So it might just be like a time to like cut ties because you've already got him being... I think by the time that like we understand the full amount of his like extra police work that is going on of being a criminal, it's time to like cut him out of the narrative.
We do
essentially, because then it's like, what's the interesting hook there anymore, other than he'll like maybe go rogue for a little while.
We do eventually have an additional police person that plays into the narrative who is a lot more competent.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually adds like good layers to the later plot.
Yeah, I think,
and it's a woman because like duh, like
there you go. I think it's interesting.
Men can't get anything done. That's what we've learned on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with Wilden it's like fun, but I think you're running out of room for it to continue still being interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think like dead.
Bye Wilden.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's in his trunk.
Yeah, he could
in a
be
red
in
coat.
Exactly, in a pea coat.
In Allison's red coat.
Jenna mask.
Scandal.
It could be a trunk full of Allison masks.
That's a fair enough.
I don't know. Thought there were no bad ideas.
I was just like, how terrifying would that be? Like,
Right. It would
it's
be
also
very
like
terrifying.
wasting a lot of masks.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what does A have besides money and a private plane?
They're property owners. The property happens to drive around.
Oh yeah, Winnebago.
Uh-huh.
Who's got the car?
Mona?
Toby.
Seems like Mona's.
Yeah.
Toby stays in motels.
Yeah, but why? Toby is. I don't think anyone's sleeping in it.
Yeah, there doesn't really look like there's much space to sleep. Where
Also, they left
there's too many
Toby in the
pictures.
woods, passed out on the ground, and I was like, cool. I mean, like he
oh,
woke
right,
up, but
right.
like they didn't know that. They didn't know
No.
where he was.
Oh, yeah, because they just drive away.
Yeah, that must have been part of their plan. They just leave.
Yeah.
Toby.
Oh, I guess to just meet up later. I didn't even think about that. Toby's just in the woods, stranded.
I assume he drove himself.
Flies.
He takes the plane.
Yeah. As the fire is burning, Toby's just like, damn, my ride left.
This was before Uber.
Is that Uber gonna pick you up in the middle of the woods? Yeah, it's near the flaming building.
Do you
Well, I
know
guess
where?
the lodge would be a place.
Yeah, but they Uber wasn't a thing yet,
No.
was it?
Oh, actually, it was. It
In
was like early
2013?
days. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it was like
Yeah, but
just
this
in
was coming out in 2013. It would have been based in 2012, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it would at this point it would have just been in like cities.
Mm-hmm. Well, any final thoughts on your season 3 finale?
No, I think we've covered just about everything.
I'm excited for you to learn what's in the trunk,
Yeah, me too.
and I'm excited for season 4.
Me too.
Season 3 is really where the show, I think, it's just like this is where it peaked.
It was a great time. I love season 3. I had a really good time.
Mhm.
It settled into a very nice and fast groove.
Some people argue that the dollhouse is when the show peaks.
Mm.
I think
Is that season 4?
no.
That's 5. 6?
It is. Oh my God, please stop. It's the end of one season and the beginning of the next, I think. So I think it's the end of 5 and the beginning of 6.
Got it.
I have to double check.
Okay.
But lots of good stuff to come.
I love it.
Well,
yeah, I can give us plugs. So, we are on YouTube at dead_ends, and we are also on all your podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. Please rate and review us. Just, help us get a little bit more. Apparently that helps with like algorithm things. So I'll take other people's word for it. You can also write us to our inbox at deadendspcast@gmail.com. That is in all the description boxes to the episodes where you can find that email address. You can also follow us on Twitter at deadendspodcast just to see when episodes are going up and any schedule changes and stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully you all had a happy holiday and are enjoying this post-Christmas gift. And I believe the next time we will see you, will be in 2023. So have a happy new year, everybody.
be safe.
And we'll still be here.
And you're going to know very little.
Everything.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Everything.
Well, here, bitches, and you're going to find out everything.
That's right.
You're not going to find out much, are you?
Everything.
Eventually.
Yeah.
You'll know as much as the rest of us.
That is true.
I don't know if that's everything.